Stories from our Hanford history are produced by Northwest Public Television, a member of the Hanford History Partnership. Financial support from the Uptown Shopping Center began with 11 businesses when the center was dedicated in December 1949 and has grown to over 70 shops, restaurants, and businesses today, a proud part of Richland's past, present, and future.
We came back after, in 1946, after the war ended. My dad was stationed in Seattle for a while, and then he was hired to be the principal of Carmichael Junior High School at the time. And he worked at Columbia High School for a couple of years until Carmichael was ready to move into.
And how about your mom? You said she was in the school.
She was a teacher for years. She always said her most interesting teaching experience in Richland was at John Ball School, which was a school built out this north of Jefferson. And it was built for the Camp Hanford kids.
Okay.
And she said those were the most interesting group of kids she had ever had, because they were from all over the United States. And here they were all of a sudden up in the middle of nowhere at Hanford where the wind blew all the time. But she loved John Ball School. She said she was there for 2 or 3 years. She taught at Jefferson, Marcus Whitman. She wouldn't substitute at my dad's school. She wouldn't go to Carmichael because he was there. We moved into an F house on Valley Street in 1946. You got assigned a house by what job you had. And my dad, being a school administrator, got a fairly nice house. The Fs are a 2-story single unit. General Electric at this time had taken over the project. And if you had a light bulb burned out, you just called GE and they came and put in a new light bulb. They delivered coal, and it was like living on a military installation. I went to Lewis and Clark Elementary, and then I went to Carmichael Junior High School. I went to Columbia High School, graduated from there in 1954. All of our neighbors worked at Hanford. I don't know what they did, and I'm not sure they knew what they did, but they got on buses. And it was funny, things I do remember back then, the houses were all exactly alike. There were 2 F houses on our side of the street and 4 on the other side of the street. And every Saturday night, evidently the payday was on Friday, and the guys that were single, or maybe they weren't single, would go out and celebrate payday. And then they would be on their way home and get the wrong house because they all looked exactly alike. Well, we did the same thing. We walked into our next-door neighbor's house one night. Oh, I remember the Atomic Frontier Days every summer. And it originally started out being the Grape Festival, and that was in Kennewick. And it somehow turned into one big Tri-City event called Atomic Frontier Days. And it was just, I don't know, 2 or 3 days of a carnival always came to town, and always had a Miss Richland. That was usually where Miss Richland was crowned and that type of thing. I remember when President Kennedy came to Hanford.
This is an extraordinary place to visit as a citizen and as President of the United States, because along this river, men have played a significant role in the last 20 years, which has changed the entire history of the world.
We were home on leave, and that was exciting. It was a huge crowd, but most of my memories are through the eyes of either a 10-year-old, 10 to 21. I was 21 when I moved away, when I got married and went into followed the military with my husband. So my memories are kids' memories. We spent a lot of time in the park. I guess it's Howard Amon Park now, yeah. Well, it was just a nice place to grow up. I mean, we were running around the streets playing hide-and-go-seek at night and playing tag and all the things that kids did back then. We followed the mosquito spray truck, which was DDT, and the big sport was to ride your bicycle in the fog behind the mosquito truck. And no one thought a thing of that. We went to the movies. The Richland Theater was there, and the Village Theater had movies. They had westerns every Saturday morning. And then after Uptown was built, I'm not sure what year Uptown was built. I know it was when I was in junior high, probably 1949, 50. And that was a big occasion to have the Uptown Theater there.
Before Uptown, where did you go to for shopping?
Downtown. And down there they had Thrifty Drugstore, and next door to it, and the owner of Thrifty Drug was our neighbor. He lived in an L house, which was a very nice single 4-bedroom, 2-story unit, and they lived just around the corner from us. Then there was a C.C. Anderson's, which is now Macy's, but that was the big department store. There was a hardware store on the corner of Lee and George Washington Way. And the Village Theater was across the street on George Washington Way from the hardware store. It was just kind of like Mayberry or in Andy Griffith living here. We were just, everybody knew everybody.